I'm back up on the mountain this morning. We're rethinking the blacksmith shop. As you remember, we have this big tree behind us we got to work on. And either we need to cut this tree down now or never, because once I build a shop over here, it'll be super hard to get this thing to fall anywhere. So based on that, I think we're going to go ahead and cut it. I hate to cut it because it's a beautiful tree, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Also, cutting the tree will give us a lot more space to work with and better access for the tractor to level the ground a little bit. So let's get to it. Okay, so we have the wedge cut out of the tree. You can see this is a red oak. Well, mainly because the way it is, it's red. Aiming the tree that way. One issue is we do have some branches hanging over the shed this way, but I'm pretty sure it'll clear. Well, that was pretty exciting. All right, so we got the stump cut pretty flat. There was a little bit of tear out, but not too much. This tree is pretty big. See here, we probably have at least 40 feet of good sawmill wood. It landed right about where we thought it would. We did take out a couple branches up there on the way down, but not too bad. All the branches missed the shed, so we have no damage there. That's always a good thing. And now the next step is to measure it into about 9-foot lengths, start cutting it up, and haul it over to the sawmill. That's where all the hard work begins. So each time you cut one of these logs, you have to be careful and understand which way the log's going to pull. So like this first log, this end was up off the ground, so I knew that it was going to fall down. And I also knew that that end of the tree was up a little bit and it was going to fall down. So the way to cut this is just cut it from the top all the way through, and as it gets close to going, it'll spread apart so you don't trap your saw blade. You never want to get your saw blade trapped in the log unless you have another chainsaw to cut it free. So we'll move on down the log. We have a few limbs to cut off. We'll cut another 9 or 10 foot section somewhere. I don't know. We'll measure all the way up to where that Y is in the tree and try to get 2 pieces out of here somewhere. So that's our second log. I almost got the saw blade pinched, but we pulled out. Well, I didn't pull out in time. Got the saw stuck. So as we're trying to cut all these limbs off to get some of the weight off the tree, I was cutting this limb and it looked like it was going to drop down, and it did drop down. You can see it actually cracked the limb, which is okay. But as soon as that limb cracked, this bottom part came up, and now the chainsaw is stuck in the log. That's not good. So there's a couple ways out of this dilemma. We could take an axe and a wedge and try to spread this open a little bit. Hold on, we have a flight of geese going over. They know fall is coming. But by far the easiest method is just grab another chainsaw and keep on working. So anytime your Mrs. P says, "Do you really need another tool?" tell her, "Absolutely I do." You guys took a tumble there. I hope you're okay. All right, the good news is we were able to cut this branch off right here. The chainsaw is now free. So what we're currently doing is trying to remove all these limbs that are sticking out this way to get some of the weight off the end where we're going to cut this log. Now all these limbs are too small to put in the sawmill, so we're going to probably cut them up into, oh, I don't know, like 12 to 14-inch lengths for firewood. And you always need firewood. As we're cutting the firewood, there's a process called limbing the tree. And limbing is where you cut off, well, all the limbs. And it's super dangerous because every time you cut a limb, the main log wants to roll or shift or do something. So you got to be super careful what's going on. Another big hazard is the ground conditions. As we're working and limbing stuff, we have fallen limbs, we have logs, things that we're going to step on. That just makes our footing not very good. So as we're working around here, trying to cut all this firewood that goes well down the hill, we just got to be super careful that we don't trip and fall with a live chainsaw. That would be really not good. So for cutting the firewood and limbing the tree, I use this smaller chainsaw. It's a lot lighter to handle, and well, and it's lighter. I'm gonna put the camera down, get all this firewood chopped up, get all these logs separated. All right, I have all the chainsaw work done. Let's show you the progress. So here's the stump. Our first log, 10 feet long. Our second log is 8 feet long. Our third log, I was going to cut it at 8 feet. In fact, you can see I put a mark right here on it, but I went in and just cut off these other pieces, and we'll take all this to the sawmill and sort it out. Then I have a couple long beams. These are probably, about 8-inch diameter beams, 9 to 10 feet long. We have 1, 2, 3 of those, so that's good. I don't know what we're going to use them for, but it's good to have them. And then we have a whole bunch of firewood, and the firewood is just, well, firewood. There's also a lot of limbs and leaves and debris like that around. No worry, we'll take care of that. We're going to run those things through the chipper shredder. But that's about going to do it for today. You guys get outside, do something fun, come back and tell me about it.